Well, hey everybody, how you doing? I thought we would do a little bit of mining today. But mostly we're actually going to be practicing some mechanics. I should have practiced a long time ago, so we'll go ahead and get started. I think the most of today is really going to be about practicing jettison, which is probably a skill I don't know, probably should have learned as somebody who mines all the time, but it's just nothing I've ever monkeyed with. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started with that. So yeah, maybe a little bit of mining. Obviously, we need to do a little bit of mining in order to get some Quantanium on board. I think it needs to get into a state, is what I read. And so, and then once it's into a state, then the jettison window will appear. And so that's what we're going to practice. I've actually never did any kind of a jettison before. I know that's crazy, but I thought that it would be an important thing to learn, so I'm going to practice that. So, boy, what a week. You know, I didn't do a normal streaming week at all this week. I was really thinking that 3.17 might drop, but it just, there's just so much stuff going on with that. It wasn't a thing. So let's just go ahead and get started. Now, obviously, if we're going to be doing a lot of jettison stuff, we're not going to be... We're definitely going to take off our normal garb here, and we're just going to kind of put on something that would be kind of apropos. I think is the right word. So we're going to put on our whitey tighties, and we're going to. I am going to go ahead and do a little pre-flight on the Prospector as well. I'll put some consumables on there, but I'm not going to run out there with an FLTRXL. Jason Tyler Okoa says, "You are lucky I can't access the servers." Oh, I didn't know that, Jason. I mean, this is just this isn't the PTU. This is just the PU. I didn't really realize that was happening, so that's interesting. I'll have to look into that or whatever. So yeah, we're going to do a little pre-flight here, and I'm going to take a look at my Prospector. And in this particular case, the main thing I'm doing is I'm actually going to unequip the FLTRXL. And I'll just throw on another Brant for now. So we'll go ahead and save those changes. Outside of that, if I have to claim anything, it's just, you know, it's just brand modules, no big deal. And so we will go ahead and pull the Prospector, and we will get started. So yeah, hey, Chris Bates, how are you, Chris? Nice to see you. What up, sir? Chris says, what up, my peeps? Yeah, so I was thinking that, believe it or not, that 3.17 may have an opportunity this week, and I was kind of holding off the stream just because I was going to cram a bunch of 3.17 streaming in after it dropped, but it didn't, and so I was, you know, and actually I went to jump on the PTU this morning, and, like, I couldn't even get, like, the elevators wouldn't even let me out of the habitation floor, and on 3 different servers, so I was like, well, I think I need to kind of shift gears and do something different today, and we were actually doing a little theory crafting on our Prospector breaking teams, and I am definitely not going to take credit for this particular thought. So on our Thursday mining night, you know, we have Prospector breaking teams. We kind of, everybody scouts, and then we have 2 Prospectors that will kind of lead the break. You know, they'll be they will break rocks, and then when they break the rocks, we'll use the mole. Hey, Daggermore, how you doing, Dag? Good morning. How are you, sir? We'll use the mole to come in and break those up. Well, Jack Bling, he mentioned, you know, it would be really cool if with our breaking teams, if there's a big piece of because they're not scooping. If there's a big piece of inert in the way, we might be able to scoop that up and then just grab a little piece of a Quantanium and jettison that. So you can almost use, like, your breaking teams as a way to scoop up, like, some of the bad material. If there are breaks where, like, you know, there's stuff in the way, of course you don't normally scoop that stuff, right? You just kind of maybe monkey around with it or blow it up. But in this particular case, yeah, I got to do a little pre-flight here. It looks like I need a little hydrogen top off. We'll take care of that. So yeah, you know, he had this thought about using the Prospector breaking teams, you know, just to kind of, they can grab the inert, and if they grab just a tiny bit of Quantanium, they would be just, you know, they could then jettison it. Well, I think that's a great idea, honestly. It's kind of a game changer idea for sure. And so I thought, wow, that is crazy cool. let's go ahead and look into that. So I'm going to go ahead and go do a little bit of mining on Lyria, but not the traditional mining in the sense where I'm going to go ahead and pull some Quantanium on board. I'm going to get it into a state where it's, you know, I should be able to jettison. And I just never, ever jettisoned one time ever. So I just, you know, I've never done it. You know, I know that it's something that will not kind of pop up until you've, you know, it's in a state where, you know, you'll need to jettison it. So yeah, so the reason I put on my tidy whities is just in case this ends with a boom. So that's kind of the fun, right? It's like, well, if you're going to practice something that might blow up the vehicle, there's always some fun in that to stream as well. So Jason Tyler says, what do you think about the Expanse? Will you get one? Absolutely love the Expanse. Super thrilled about the possibility of the Expanse in, say, Pyro. Of course, you're going to practice using it. You know, I'm very interested in how fast, like, the Expanse is going to be able to refine the material. And of course, there's a few questions like the 64 SCU, like, versus storage capacity and quite a bit of other things. But there's no single, you know, outside of the refueling ship, you know, for a mining operation in Pyro, there's going to be, you know, outside of your mining vehicles, there's going to be nothing more important than, you know, especially for volatile stuff, you know, is to be able to have some kind of a place close by, or, you know, really you can almost bring the Expanse right up, you know, to the mining operation. And man, you know, yeah, the Expanse is a wild ship. It's a cool ship. I love the idea, and it will be interesting to see as it goes forward. You know, how it all plays out. I'm looking forward to the Q&A. I think that's probably what I'm saying. BL, welcome BL, not a name I recognize. Love to have you aboard on the channel. It's silly to buy something without knowing the fine details on how it works. I don't necessarily disagree with that. The one thing I will say, BL, that is I actually, for whatever reason, in my mind, I think if you go back in one of my streams, I was thinking they were going to sell it for more $2,215. And, you know, and so I think it came out at a very fair price. And I definitely know that, you know, regardless, you know, what it is, as far as, like, how it works, a lot of people are just going to kind of make it work when it comes to Pyro. But I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think that it's a better idea to kind of know all the details. And I definitely, I definitely think down in that price point of more 135, it's, you know, it's not quite as expensive as some of the other ships. So Thomas Jacome, how you doing, Thomas? Hello, friend. Thomas says, I got the same ship as you. Yeah, that's awesome. And then Chris Basis, he said, boom. Yeah, we are practicing jettisoning today. Jettison is what I'm going to be learning about today, just because you know, there's an opportunity in changing the meta with our prospector braking teams. And using them to kind of pull the inert or just scoop some stuff. And then, you know, if they need to clear, just grabbing a little bit of Quantanium and getting it into a state for the jettison thing. So, Darkside, how you doing this morning, Darkside? Probably a little later for you today, though. How you been? Nice to see you. So, I think Darkside's someplace where I think the time zones are pretty opposite of us, right, Dark? So... You know, it's you know, it is another gray day here in northern Michigan. We're definitely, I think, looking forward to the I think we're all definitely looking forward to the weather turning a little bit, you know, and then having it become a touch warmer around these parts. Kojak says, hey Kojak, how you doing, Kojak? Nice to see you, man. How you been? So yeah, I don't know if any of you kind of have, you know, do jettison on a regular basis or whatever. I certainly have never. Every time I've had Quantanium on board, I just took it back to the refinery. I mean that and this is probably not an exaggeration. Let's just say, just to be kind of reasonable, let's say I've made 500 Quantanium runs in my, you know, I'm sure it's more. Sadly, let's say I've made 500 Quantanium runs. Never one time, not once, not even a little. I've never did jettison any time ever. I think one time I wanted to monkey around with it, but I didn't go read that things had to be unstable. So yeah, Darkside says at present 7:18 p.m. Friday evening. That's not as far along as I thought, Dark. I mean, It's it seems like it's about maybe it must be 218 here. Oh, it's 118 here. Yep. So not bad, not bad. So yeah, you know. And anyways, I thought I was thinking of Chris because you know anything that might Chris you know knows anything that ends in a boom is always funny on the stream. So you know if we go to grab something and it ends up being you know if we go to jettison something and it doesn't work out, then you know we might have try and make an emergency run back to Arc, but. And you know, and there's plenty of time or whatever. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. But we're gonna basically pull some things on board. We're gonna do some jettisoning and that type of thing. So, and the other it's 2:20 at where Jason's at. That's awesome, Jason. That's crazy. 2:20 in the morning, anyways. That is, you are actually almost completely opposite side of the planet of me. So, I also want to tell you guys a funny story. I think it'll be funny for the stream as well. So. This week, I don't know if you guys caught, I put out a video that had, kind of a clickbaity title. And, you know, like, it is funny. Like, I'll tell you the whole story just because it will be kind of, you know, there's not a ton to it. But last Sunday, I was playing some Dungeons and Dragons with my best friend, his kids, and my son and I get together and we have a regular game, and I think we just had our 75th episode, and it's like, you know, it's like on Sundays normally from like 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. depending on, and so we've had this campaign going for a long time, and my friend is great. He's a great, oh my stars, he's an awesome DM. I mean, you know, and we've got this awesome table, and he's got minis, and it's just like, you know, I mean, we're older now, so we're able to kind of pull off games like, you know, like we would have dreamed about when we were kids. And anyways, you know, we were driving home from that, and I told Max, I'm like, you know, my son, I'm like, hey, I need to put out a video to kind of warn people that as 3.17 gets close. And 3.17, you know, I played 4 hours straight 3.17 last Saturday, and you know, and only had one you know, 130K at the end, and I was like, wow, this is pretty stable. It's maybe a good chance it might make it out or whatever. And so yeah, anyways, you know, I thought, well, you know, hey, I'm going to tell people to clear your mining job, you know, clear your refining jobs. Make sure you clear your refining jobs. And so yeah, that's he said to me, well, you know, you don't want to, you know, you want to make sure you put something like, do not make this mistake for your title. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, why would I do that? And he's like, well, because, you know, if you create tension, then people will come to your video or whatever. Hey, Tina, how are you? And I was like, well, that's interesting. I guess I've never really done that before. And it's not lost on me that if you have the clickbaity title type thing going on a video, that, I mean, but it's nothing I'd ever tried. So anyways, you know, I got home, I wanted to make a quick video, and I made a quick kind of a video. It just says, hey, make sure you want to make sure you're managing your refining jobs. Don't let the patch drop. So, but I put the title in there like, you know, 3.17 is imminent. You know, make sure you manage your refining jobs. And so that video with that ridiculous title just did crazy numbers. Like, I woke up a couple hours later and it's like there was 300 or 400 views. My videos don't do that. I was like, holy mackerel, he was right about this, you know. So yeah, that's awesome. Darkside says also love tabletop gaming, many years Warhammer 40K from painting to playing. Yeah, it has been really, I mean, he's got some that almost looks like somebody's mined that down there. Isn't that weird? We'll go down here and take a look. That's exactly what that looks like. We've coming over someone else's tailings, which would be weird. And anyways, yeah. So Dahlia says, "Wow, that video got loads of views. It works." I know, Dahlia. That's what I'm saying. You know, like I made this crazy clickbaity title. So, anyways, you know, the YouTube was loving that video. You know, it was like, you know, look at this, you guys. I found somebody else's tailings as we were flying around here. I'm almost certain of it. Yeah, this is just so weird. Now, what is going on here? This is so strange. It's not Quantanium either. Is that a purple? Yeah, definitely. This is someone else's tailings. Well, here's what's funny about this, and you know, no disrespect, but somebody was over here mining, and of course, but this isn't a Quantanium node, So somebody was just over here mining whatevs, man. I'll tell you what, there's a dedicated miner right there. They're just gonna come grab some granite, some copper or whatever. Holy smokes, that's awesome. So anyways, yeah, I made that title. The thing did great numbers. So now I'm in this dilemma, right? It's like, do I do more clickbaity titles? No, I'm not going to. I decided, I was thinking about it. It's like, now I may try and put a little more tension into my titles, but I'm definitely not going to do another one. Man, the hate I got on Reddit was so funny. Like, you know, like, of course, YouTube, the algorithm went crazy. Lots of views on that video. It just made me laugh, you know, just because it's got so many views, like way outperformed any video I've ever done. And it's because I don't normally do those titles. Man, on Reddit, they were just like, I can't believe these clickbait titles. God, if I had more than one downvote, I'd cast it. You know, and it just ended up. Anyways, I just thought, you know, I'd share that with you guys. It was a funny thing. You know, that video did great numbers, and it was only because I definitely put like a crazy clickbaity video title in it, and it was just because my 11-year-old taught me that that's how you would work the algorithm. So. Anyways, it works. So, Dalia says, is the UI fixed now? Oh, Tina said, wait a minute. There is a special place in the realms for of 30K for clickbait. Yeah. And then, yeah, Dalia says, is the UI fixed now? I'll tell you, in 3.17, the UI looked super crisp. That much. Now, I'm playing the PT. I'm playing right now just the standard PU. I'm not playing the PTU. I'm playing 3.16, not 3.17. The UI looks really crisp in 3.17. When I was playing it last week, it looked great. You know, hopefully that kind of thing stays for sure. And yeah, like I said, I honestly believed. That 3.17 was just based on 4 hours of playing last Saturday. I mean, I streamed for 4 straight hours and was able to put mining gadgets on things. I was just like, send it. For sure. Redemption says there's no such thing as bad publicity. That's funny. You know, yeah, I mean, I definitely, a little bit of that makes me laugh or whatever, you know, but... and I have heard other content creators mention, you know, if you put the titles like that, you know, it's a thing, but it just made, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. It made me laugh. Dwayne says, nice. Ace Hambone says, hello. Oh, hey, Ace, how you doing? So this is going to be fine, you guys. This is what we're doing here, is with these doublers here, is we're just looking for something to practice. Oh, hey, there's a ship, though. Interesting. I've seen a ship icon, but I don't see a ship. The funny thing is, I'm not really out here mining today. I'm just out here practicing Jettison. So, you know, maybe we'll get a Jettison one way or the other, right? You know, yes. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, Tina says, looking forward to crisper visuals. Not so much the lack of range on a passive rock. So this ends up being a decent rock. It's actually, you know, halfway decent anyways, 15%. Probably not one I'd normally mine, but this is going to serve us well. This one's even better, though, I think. Yeah, that's the 35% or so. So, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We're going to come in here and we're going to break a slice of this here. And yeah, this isn't a bad rock. This is 350, 9, 10. This is a little over 20 SEU, 21, 22 SEU. And it's rough estimate. So I'm going to pull some of this on board. And like I said, Thursday night we were talking about prospector breaking, and normally our prospectors just break and haul and go away. But you know, Jack Blink said, you know, maybe we should have the prospectors actually pull up if they're breaking teams. Take some of the inert, or if there's a really large piece of just garbage, have them just scoop it and then grab a tiny bit of Quantanium and then just jettison. So as the scooping teams are going around, they can kind of help, you know, basically in a way almost work as like a sorting team. They can at least get rid of some of the real kind of egregious pieces of big inert that are in the way on the piles. And so I thought that was a very interesting thought, and you know, and really would change the meta for our breaking teams. Yeah, I'm just gonna fire a brand, kind of straighten this guy out real quick. and make it so I can read the chat. And that's a Brant's a really. I should call the rename the Brant the whatever the chat for it frees me up to be able to look at the chat. So Nano Fly, not a name I recognize. How you doing, Nano? Welcome aboard today. Tina says looking forward to. Oh yeah, seen that one before. Welcome aboard. So yeah, anyways, I am going to practice doing. I just never jettisoned one time ever. I have no idea how what's happening with it or anything. So we're gonna bust this up. We're gonna pull a little of this Quantanium on board, and so. All right. Well, that's probably good news. I mean, the first two pieces had nothing in it. That's awesome. Okay. And this is going to be a little different than I normally do, right? These are going to be pretty good percenters in here. Here's what I'm going to do, you guys, because this is just the opposite of what we normally do on the mining channel here. So I am pulling in this garbage. Oh, not that one. Oh, do I need to break these? Oh, I do. Okay. Let me break these guys really quick. I'm going to break this trash down. And when I do, I'm going to pull as much of this trash. I'm going to pull a bunch of this trash on board. Then I'm just going to grab just the tiniest bit of Quantanium and see. And that's the thing I'm here to test today. I thought I'd test that a little bit today. And an interesting kind of theory about that. So yeah, I just think it really would, if your prospector breaking teams can scoop up a nerd that's in the way, and then just grab like one or two, just the tiniest bit of Quantanium, just to be able to jettison it out. Boy, that would really give. You'd have up to 64 SCU then, of just garbage material on the sites could be pulled into the prospectors for a very low cost of Quantanium. So that's what we're going to test today. That's what we're here to do. It just kind of changes the meta. It's a great idea. Full credit goes to Jackling on that idea, as we were just kind of out and about, and this is what we're here to test today. So Tina says, tried jettison once, almost destroyed my boat. Didn't have Quant on board, so kept shooting flares. That hurts your shirt. Yeah, there you go. Hey, this is going to be my first rodeo too. I know that I did a little. I'm not going to lie. I went over to Red Monster Gaming's video. He has this video about in 3.15. I think the jettison wasn't working as an option. So, I don't know if it's working or not, but we're going to find out. And if for some reason this ends in a boom, we're just going to have a big laugh about it, and that will be okay. And most of the time, as you know, on the mining stream, we just go mining. So practicing a very, very important mining mechanic, which is learning, jettison, it is a good thing, and it will allow me to actually create. I also thought this would be research when I go to create a video. My next video I was thinking is was going to be something along the lines of, maybe I'll do some clickbait. It's like, you need to learn this skill or you'll die if you. Something like that. So anyways, yes, we are scooping on all as much trash here as we possibly can first. That's our goal here. We're pulling on we're taking on all the Garbola. So Ace Handbone says, I was hoping the Expanse was going to be able to handle a fully loaded mole. If refined or takes up less space than raw, or maybe 8 pods on the Expanse will be enough. Yeah, it's a good question. Now, when I was watching Info Runners, Ace, John and Execute were talking about how there is the 64 SCU of storage, but was one other place that mentioned the 120, whatever 60, 128 or whatever, as if maybe it could have 64 refined, materials in its bags, and then also on board could store 64. We'll have to see about that. I mean, the other thing that the Expanse could certainly do is just, if you can, just move those things. I mean, obviously the Expanse normally is going to be sitting in space, so maybe you can just put those things in space. And so, but yeah, it's not going to be able to offload an entire mole. And I think that's probably what you're, what you're concerned about. Nanofly says, do miners need security from piracy? Absolutely. I mean, obviously, the larger your operation, certainly you can fly around the verse as a solo miner and kind of, hide in the air in Halo and I've done, lots and lots and lots of runs, and I don't need any security. But your mining operations, definitely you're going to want to have Overwatch. Security is very important. It's going to be a very important part of the verse. Now, we do absolutely have security details now for our organizational mining operations. We do have Thursday night mining night where we're a little more lax on that stuff, I suppose, than we should be. So here's this. This is the use case, you guys. So really quickly, I'll speak to the, but Nano, really the short answer to your question is yes, absolutely, escorts are a requirement. So this would be the use case, right? Let's say I'm part of a prospector breaking team. There was some quartz and some inert, that was in the way. And then you can see I've got quite a bit of Garbola on board now. I've got 18 SCU of quartz. I've got 8 SCU of inert and 1. So, I have moved a whole, I grabbed a bunch of stuff off the pile to make sure that I could expose, the Quantanium. So now I'm just going to grab literally the tiniest bit of Quantanium, 0.20. And we're just going to, well, I'm not going to do that. We're just going to kind of sit here for a moment and just kind of see how this goes. Now, it's going to take a little while. Obviously, it's going to take a moment for it to get into a state, and the timer just started. So, it's one of those things. I mean, we got to sit and chat for a little bit because I think we have to have first alarm happen before, you can actually do the jettison. I think that's the case, you guys. So, yeah, anyways, yes, Ace Hambone says, pirating isn't as much of an issue for miners as I believe it should be and will be in the future. It's true, Ace. I mean, I will tell you in the hundreds of times that I have done, mining runs. I've only had kind of interactions with people once or twice. So, yeah, I mean, it's not something, there's not some dragnet out here that's pulling single prospectors out, and I mean, yeah, we definitely, but there are, of course, going to be some systems that are going to be, have few places or outlets to maybe stop at R&R stations. Those places will be very, very hunted. As you get into Pyro, I think, I don't know how many stations there are. It seems like I understand that maybe is one. It's not, that wouldn't be a place that you'd want to fly into, without kind of, having some muscle with you. So yeah, I mean, security is an incredibly important part of any operation, and especially in our mining operations. Even if it's just some Overwatch and some scouting to kind of, create a skirmish, to intercept and try and delay people that are trying to blow up your mining ships. And we do some training in our org from time to time where we have a scenario where somebody's mining, and then your Overwatch kind of spots the incoming target and kind of calls, makes the necessary calls for the team to successfully get away. So, it's one of those things you practice. So here we are. We're doing something like a very unusual thing. And, hey, just for the heck of it, I'll give you some visuals. So we are definitely having a little fun here. We've scooped up, we broke up a rock. This is all full. We picked up every piece of Garbola we could, quartz, inert, aluminum, and now we've picked up 0.19 SCU of Quantanium. We're waiting for the volatile cargo thing to begin, and I am going to go ahead and just see if I can just jettison. Now, the way that I understand it, it's left Alt and J, but you have to be in a state where the volatile cargo warning has gone off. And there's also, and I'm going to practice it a couple ways, and there's also a UI thing as well. So Nanofly says, what mineral ore is worth more than drugs that the traders trade with. Well, the most Nano, the most consistent thing is the Quantanium. And so you can see here, that's what I've done, is I pulled some Quantanium on board. Most of the time, your goal is to have as much Quantanium on board with as little extra stuff. This particular time, I've pulled a whole bunch of garbage on, and I have, just a tiny bit of Quantanium, because I definitely want to see if I can, in my hundreds and hundreds of mining runs, I've just never jettisoned one time. So this is, us kind of monkeying around. I mean, it's very kind of a mundane thing, unless the jettison doesn't work, in which case that little bit of Quantanium can actually blow up my ship when it becomes unstable. So Salo says, are you using the mining gadgets? Hey, Salo, I'm not on the PU today. I did it I was hoping to get on the the PTU. I was hoping to get on the PTU today, but I logged on there and I couldn't get out of the habitation area. Like everywhere I went, the elevators wouldn't work. So last week I used the mining gadgets and I did a stream. And so if you look at my page, Salo, you'll see that I use the gadgets, and actually right at the top of that, I actually have a time that you can click, and it will take you right to the moment right before I used the gadget. It was a bore max, and it allowed me to crack a 6700 mass rock with a lancet. That was at 26%, so that was actually a 32 SE rock. So Dagamore says, a little early for whiskey for me. And I have a lot of driving to do soon. Yeah, we have some family coming tonight for dinner, for Easter dinner tonight, and then Easter dinner at my parents' house tomorrow. Kind of a smaller group. A lot of our family has to work tomorrow, so we're having the kids over tonight, and we're doing a nice Easter dinner tonight. So I'm making some barbecue chicken, which is I'm super excited about, and we're just doing some taters and salad. So a simple dinner, but a good one. Ace Hambo says, I know the talk has been out there, but I haven't heard anything on how long the refining will take. If the refining takes as long as the expansion does the station, I agree, Ace. That's the when we started talking about the expanse a little earlier. Oh, Salo says, oh crap, 317 will come in June. It will come. I streamed 317 for 4 hours. Last week, and I really did think it was going to come this week, you guys. So, anyways, our timer is continuing to tick away. We're down to 8. I think at 8 minutes is going to be when we forget first alarm. So we're waiting for that. Yeah. So, anyways, Ace, yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's got to be. I know that there's a mini game associated with it. Even if you put a full 32 SCU on board, and then you end up with say 25 or 26, even if you've done kind of the mini game perfect. Whatever it is, I understand there's going to have to be some sacrifices. But I will tell you that it's going to have to be something that's, like a half hour or so, or an hour. I mean, it's got to be a reasonable amount of time, or else no one's going to want to stand on that ship, or whatever. So, it's going to be interesting to see how fast that thing can do it. I agree, Ace. Dagamore says, nice. We have the event tonight at 4. We are expecting about 50 plus people. Dag, that sounds wonderful. That's nice. Andreas, how you doing? Jazzy Cat, how you doing? Nice to see you. Hi, everyone, says Andreas. Andreas, we are practicing jettison today. I haven't heard first alarm yet, Yoha. So, we're, it's just something I've never done. I thought I'd give it a crack. Jazzy Cat says, good day. Hope everyone's doing well today. Got my refinery jobs cleared, and I'm ready for the update. Yes, I really hope that they are able to clear that log this week. Okay, so this is what we're here for, And so this is supposed to be pretty simple. If I'm just going to hold down, now that this has gone off, I'm supposed to hit the left Alt and J. Oop, out it went. That simple. Now I wonder if there's any visual representation of that. Nope. Work like a champ. It says volatile cargo jettisoned. You have jettisoned the contents of your cargo. So yeah, that was very straightforward. And of course I didn't necessarily expect it not to be. Well, I shouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, it certainly may not have, So yeah, let's go ahead and we will go ahead and go back into mining mode and break this rock up. So yeah, that's cool. I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to do it one more time because I want to learn where the UI element is as well. So there's the hotkey, which is Alt-J, but there's also the, for instructional reasons, I want to learn exactly, because I heard that it's off to the, it's off to the right. It's not by the actual... It's not by the actual sensor. You've got to kind of get off to the right a little bit. So I'm also going to learn that as well. So, yeah. So we're going to do this same thing one more time. So that's an excellent thing to learn how to do, though. Being able to jettison is very important. And it definitely is one of those things where it's a critical mining skill. I don't know why I never did really learn or mess around with it. Certainly there probably were moments. I have boomed before a couple times. Ran out of time. I don't know why I didn't jettison. It's probably because I didn't know how to do it. So I kind of felt like, hey, on the mining stream, we probably should learn the kind of the critical skills, and that's what we're doing. So, obviously for you who watch the stream, we pull in Quantanium all the time, and we don't end up jettisoning very often, but it's still a critical skill to learn. So, Dragon Master, welcome to the channel, Dragon Master. Not a name I recognize. Guessing we will be able to see it when physicalized cargo is implemented. Do you mean being able to see the jettison contents? I wonder if that... that's a very, very interesting... that's an interesting point. Andrea says, I've been around Microtech on my way back to Arc L1. My ship is 2 engines short because I did an oopsie in a storm. We'll go to mine after that. I need a break from storms and snow. Andreas, mining in the Microtech worlds is very tedious. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to pick up some of this stuff here. We're going to grab a little bit of this and a little bit of that now. So, this is going to be mostly Quantanium. We're just going to, I'm not being discerning with the laser at all. I'm not looking. I'm just scooping, grabbing. We're just going to grab and we're going to put some different materials on board. I'm going to let it get into an unstable state, and we're going to call it good. That's, if I am able to jettison, I've jettisoned with the keyboard combination. I do want to jettison one time with kind of the UI interface as well, and just so I learn it. It's just something that I like to do, and I like to be able to demonstrate, and show people. So. We'll go ahead and do that. Daggermore says, I feel you last night's storms was messing up some of my parking. Yeah, it is crazy to mine in Microtech. It is very windy there. You've got to kind of sometimes you got to be flying your prospector towards things to stay on it. It's crazy. Yeah, Peter says it's critical knowledge about mining, patience, and loads of caffeine. That's exactly right. So we'll go ahead and pull this on board too. Because we're not really saving any of this right now. We're going to jettison it all. So that's a heck of a piece of Quantanium right there, though. That's a nice, healthy chunk. And then you got this little piece that's underground, and I don't know if there's any way to get that anywhere. It does make you wonder, is there like an edge down here maybe? Yeah. You can see it under the ground there, but nah, you can't. All right, so we're going to do it one more time. It's just, like I said, for science and posterity, and for, sometimes you have to kind of learn things and teach things on the mining channel, and that's what we're doing. Drax says, and on the 8th day, the Lord said, let there be coffee. That's exactly right. Such a solid move. Tons of coffee, yum. And absolutely a requirement. So Tina says, I had 3 cups of coffee and found me a 61 SU quant site. Nom, 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 nom. Absolutely nom, nom, nom. So I suppose we should probably fly around and look for what else to mine here now. Because if jettison's going to work that easy, then heck, we might as well do a little mining on the mining stream, right? I might as well at least break something up and take it back to the hopper, which is exactly what we'll do. So yeah, 3.17 is definitely not, like I said, I played 4 hours last Saturday. I really thought, and I I only had 130K in that 4 hours. I thought, wow, this is going to get, there's a really good chance this is coming out this week, just because my stability was so fantastic, and the frames were great too. So Thomas is asking a great question. Where do you recommend I start mining? Well, Thomas, that is a great question in the sense that there's different types of mining, right? There's hand mining, which is where you can actually do a little cave spelunking, very dangerous cave spelunking in Star Citizen. You've said I've got the same ship as. We could talk about that, Thomas. Drax says, well, he already had experience the very first Monday and concluded it was going to need some chemical. Yeah. Thomas says, I got the same ship as you. So we'll talk about prospector mining then, Thomas, specifically. Tina says, serious question, though. If not quant, then what to go for? Well, Bexolite, right? I mean, Bexolite would be the second most expensive stuff. Obviously, Hadanite mining or rock mining would be great if they would fix the extraction bug, too. But yeah, I wouldn't, Bexolite, any of the ites, right? Laranite, Terranite, Hephaestonite, of course, Agricium. Borace I don't find in concentrations usually that you can actually pull on board. I think in one of my, it seems like one time I pulled I found like a 300, like it broke into a purple, like a 100% Borace that was like 4 SCU of it, and I actually took that just for, I was like, man, that's a unicorn Borace rock, and I just took it. Andrea says, I wasn't mining, did some deliveries and bunkers playing with my brand new Terrapin I got for my quant money. I could say with confidence that the prospector would have survived those crashes. Would not have survived those crashes. Yeah, the Terrapin is a tough nut to crack. It's got a lot of, I love the Terrapin. It's a great ship. When the scanning mechanics get in, that would definitely be a ship that I would buy for sure, just to be able to go around and scan and mark rocks. Wouldn't that be a fun gameplay? I'm just going to go around and find things and then attach something to them, and then so I can come back later and have those things. And I was thinking about this. It'd be so cool if they'd make some kind of a device where, let's just say you put it on the rock and it just collects whatever values are in that rock and just kind of maybe internally creates a GUID for them. And then later on, if you come back, it will just procedurally generate at least that one rock you marked with those specific values in that specific spot. That would be pretty cool. I mean, and of course I know that's pie in the sky, but that was some theory crafting I was thinking about one day, and I was like, man, that'd be awesome if there was some way to attach, and if the Terrapin could do some, locating on stuff like that, that would be sweet. Anyways, Drax says, so the Terrapin is aptly named. Yeah, it's a cool little ship. Yeah, it's definitely like a little. It does look like a little turtle, and it's just it looks rugged. I mean, it really looks like where you could kind of land it on a very inhospitable environment and kind of live out of it. I mean, it doesn't, it's just a cool ship. I do like the Terrapin a lot. But currently in game, it doesn't have a whole lot it can do outside of, kind of the way that Andres was using it. You know what I mean? So, great ship though. I really do like that ship. You can do that in ED now. Oh yeah, cool. I think we are talking like delivery missions or that type of stuff. So, you mean mark the rock and come back, Jack? Yeah. They don't have that yet, and I think it has to do with the procedural generation stuff. So we kind of have to mine it on the fly, as we. So I'm waiting for this, by the way, to go unstable. We're still. Remember, I have this stuff on board, and I'm gonna jettison it in just a little bit. So as we're flying around here, so we definitely have some. Normally we'd be making our way back to the refiner, but we just kind of grab some trash, and we're just gonna jettison it one more time. So. And I will definitely put some time markers in the stream when I did the jettison parts of it so people can learn. Which is kind of one of the reasons I like to do this kind of stuff. Which is I get to learn and you guys get to teach me. And then, later on I get to say, nope, go ahead and just jettison that. And make sure you have your mining laser out and just, left alt J. And that's the way it worked for me this last time. And we're going to try the UI marker this next time. So... Drax says, Andrea says, the Terrapin is too light to withstand the storms on Uturp. Even with turned engines off, it just starts sliding. Ooh, I didn't realize that. It looks like it's got such solid footing, that it would stick right there, Andreas, for sure. That's awesome. Drax says it can get you there and keep you alive long enough to maybe get back home again. Yeah, it definitely has an explorer element to it. Andrea says I got ganked 5 times last night. I was on and got away with it. It's a really wow. That's crazy. So yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like I think it's got pretty good, you know, like hull HP for sure. I think they kind of really ramped up the hull HP on that thing. Ace Hambone says, I have the Odyssey, and I think the Terrapin is a perfect ship to go in its hangar. I'll tell you, you may be right, Ace. I mean, that's a very, very cool combination. Because here's the thing, right? If you can't, you know, I mean, really you would think the Prospector would be such a perfect match for the Odyssey. But, I mean, you know, and it may be. I mean, you know, but what are you going to do with, what are you going to do with that, stuff that you get, like if you get like some stuff like I have on board now, you know, some Quantanium with the Prospector, you can't do anything with it if you're in deep space. So you're right. So here's the thing, right? People were saying, and there it is. See how it's way off to the side of the UI? See how, like, if I'm hovering my mouse over here, if you guys look, it's not working, but it's way over to the side here is where it will say Jettison Cargo. So I'm going to try and interact with that. And it did. It worked fine. So that was a lot of what I wanted to practice today. That's kind of cool. So we did a jettison both ways with Alt with the keybind, which is left Alt J, and we did a jettison with the UI, which is, you know, like a, you know, pretty good size, pretty good bit off to, I guess, off to the right of the you know, of the actual volatile cargo sensor. You know, it's over this way is where you got to kind of hit that thing. So interesting thing to learn. I had never done a jettison before, and like I said, we talked about, you know, the prospectors on the braking team scooping up inert and like garbage material to help clean up a site that's going to be, you know, that we're going to have extracted from. And boy, what a good idea that was by Jack, and I think that we're going to be able to implement that just fine as long as those things keep working. So I'm really excited about that. That's a really cool thing to kind of learn and practice, and I think I will build a little video that just says, hey, you know, this is how it works, and just so everybody's aware. It's kind of an important skill to have. So Drax says a couple of things. In ED, you can farm subsurface deposits, find a rock with 2 or more valuable deposits, clean out the deposits, log out, log in again, and once you're there, you can hit that same rock all over again. Yeah, I've seen that before, Drac. I know what you mean. It's kind of weird. If you jump kind of servers, it's kind of a replicated almost type of thing. Ace Hambone says the scanning array in the Odyssey is just average for an exploration ship, so the Terrapin seems perfect. Love that idea. I mean, it's a very potent 1-2 combination. Andrea says, I have the Constellation of Kia, and that's an exploration partner for their Terrapin. I think I'll melt the Connie, though. It just always blows up if you try to enter it through an elevator with a backpack. Yeah, the Connie's got the, you know, that one, you know, the Connies do have a little bit of a, you know, thing going on with the backpack, that's for sure. I think they were one of the ships that were hit with that. Ace Hambone says, did the animation show the actual jettison? It's a good question, Ace. I didn't see any, you know, I didn't, it would be hard. I definitely could, you know, if we find something, we'll look and see. I'll try and do the Alt J from outside the ship, and we'll look and see. And there's some doublers right there, so we'll have an opportunity right here to do this. So yeah, we'll try and look, Ace, and I'll see if from outside the ship, if it respects the key binding of Alt J to get rid of the stuff. And we'll see if there's anything associated with it. So that's a good question. Let's go ahead and see if we can get that answered. And Drax says, can you pick up what to jettison? Can you pick up what to jettison of what you picked up? You can't line item jettison. It just gets rid of everything at once. And I think it just turns it kind of to dust. It's like there's no way to recollect it or anything either. You know, it's just kind of gone into the ether. I think that's, you know, there's a lot of magic systems right now in Star Citizen, so that must be some. What is it? Is that a? Yeah, we'll have to maybe go look over that way. So yeah, that's kind of one of those magic systems, if you will, kind of things magically happen. I'm gonna turn that. Yeah, I'm gonna turn that down. Alright, so what do we got here? This is a 6545. Now, I'd easily be able to crack this if it was 3.17, but, you know, it's, I would be jumping out of my ship and throwing on a Bormax on that guy. Perfect candidate. That's a 2%er. I'm going to fly over here for a second. It almost it's either some doublers or a little cluster. I think we found a little cluster over this way. Let's take a look. Yeah. Beautiful way to spend your Saturday afternoon. Do a little Star Citizen mine. Love it. And especially when you have a little bit of a goal. Andrea says, honestly, if someone jettisons Quantanium, I wouldn't pick it up. It was probably about to blow up. Yeah, you're right about that. That's a good point, Andrea. It's probably its shelf life is very, very, very small. Track says, all or nothing deal would be all, you know, would be all but useless. Yeah, definitely. I understand what you're saying. It would be kind of cool if there were some mechanics like that. That's an 11%er there. We'll go ahead and take a look at the rest of these. This is a small cluster. That looks like it's going to be a 2%er. Yep, that's all that is. And that is a 2%er right there. And a 4%er there. So then we'll break up this guy here, and I think we want to test like a visual from outside the ship on a jettison. I don't mind that idea. I think it's a good one. So you know, we'll go ahead and we'll look. So we're gonna do the same thing here. We're just gonna get some garbage on board and a little Quantanium on board, and see how it goes. I'll get in the range here. Whiters says, Whiters, welcome aboard. How you doing, Whiters? Nice to see you today. Do you think CIG will add the Expanse as a loaner for the Orion once the Expanse is flyable? Or maybe switch out the Prospector? I could see them potentially maybe doing something like that. Boy, look at this guy. I don't really have a UI here, do I? There he goes. I was going to say for a minute, I was like, where's my UI? Whiters, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, obviously with them giving you the mole and the Prospector, I doubt they would swap out the Prospector. But you never know. They might, you know, make some kind of a, you know, once the Expanse is flyable. Drax says, but yeah, if you bork up and your load is about to blow, I could see you dumping at that point and blow chunks. Yeah. You know, there are moments right before it's like, well, you know, it's like you could either choose to blow up or you could, you know, or get rid of the, you know, getting rid of it. Learning how to, you know, to jettison is an important thing. So it successfully worked both ways. You know, like with the left Alt and J, it worked, and also with the button on the UI, it worked. So the last question I think that we had about you know, is whether or not there's anything you see visually, and I will show you guys like visually, like when I fire a flare, you know, there is a visual marker. But first, let me crack this rock real quick, and then we'll get a little more of this unstable stuff on board, and we'll set the table here. So yeah, absolutely beautiful day to monkey around in some Star Citizen. I really am looking forward to 317. I think the Expanse is going to be lots of fun. I definitely do. I mean, obviously as a miner guy, I you know, absolutely enjoy mining. You know, it's a super cool additional layer to the gameplay loop, and I'm really excited about it at some point. Obviously, refueling is very important as well, and that's, you know, that's something that you know, from a logistically, tactically, we definitely want to understand how that works, and we'll be doing some practicing of that. Ace Hambone says, jettisoning the pods is how you will utilize the Expanse. That's exactly right. I think there is going to be some kind of a way you detach the pods, and then, you know, maybe as close to the Expanse as possible, and it kind of pulls them into position. So this has a little bit of everything that we're looking for on it. So we'll break this guy down here. Andrea says, one thing I would love to see would be an Expanse XL that docks a Prospector. Oh, my stars in heaven, you're after my own heart. I know exactly what you mean. That would be cool as heck. Oh, boy. Goodness gracious. We'll go ahead. Turn this guy down a little bit. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. 96 SU capacity. Or if Argo, if they came out with something that matched the mole, if Argo had its own refining ship that was, more of a 96 SCU type of guy, that would be fun. Because, I mean, it would be interesting, too, if there was maybe something that did 2 moles, like 180 SCU size, because I think the Orion's got quite a bit of capacity. I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I love that idea, Andreas, for sure. Wider says, personally, I prefer a mole and an expanse instead of a mole and a prospector. I recently picked up an Orion, so I would love to see if they made a change. I would probably think that they might go the opposite way around. Now that I really think about it, Widers, I bet you it would be the prospector and the expanse is what you would get. And not the mole and the expanse. But that's just a thought. I mean, I would be good either way. It's only because if you brought anything over 64 SCU of Quantanium to the expanse, you're not going to be able to offload it. So the maximum that you could bring is 64 SCU, and you can have more than 64 SCU on the mole. So they don't really synchronize as well as, you could actually do 2 full prospectors. If you had 2 unis, 2 full 32 SCUs, you could fit both of those onto the expanse. But if you had a uni mole, anything north of 64 SCU, you'd be stuck with it. So I think that they probably, like, if they were to do something like you're saying, it probably would be a prospector and an expanse, not a mole and an expanse, just because the mole can have too much material to refine that the expanse wouldn't be able to do. Now that's just a guess, and we're just theory crafted, and neither one of us may be right or wrong, so it's cool either way. So anyways, yeah, we've got ourselves into the spot that we like to get ourselves into, which is, we're gonna jettison this, but from this time we're actually gonna, we're gonna jettison it. Here, I'm gonna get a little more altitude just in case I get a little crazy with the. So yeah, so anyways, if I do this, you guys, I think, yeah, it's funny. It did not respect my my click of my shaft. Now I may be out. This thing may not have a lot. I think I hit it earlier one time. Yeah, I did say it. So we're gonna get ourselves into a state though where we can jettison, and I am going to do one more jettison, but looking from the outside of the ship when we do it. So. Ace Handboard says, does the Orion have its own refinery on board? Yeah, the Orion definitely has its own refinery on board. And like I said, I don't recall the SCU of the Orion, but I thought it was like in the 270s or something like that. Like it can have up to 270 SCU of refined stuff on there. Something like that. It seems like it was over 200, like close to 300. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, it's got its own refinery on board for sure. And that ship is, fire. It's awesome. So yeah, I would think that they would probably want to do, I wouldn't surprise me if they did a refinery ship, which I know that this may sound a little crazy, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did a refining ship that was 192 SCU. That would be 2 mole runs, right? I think is kind of what you're looking at there. And so if they have another refining ship, I would think that you'd be able to do 2 full moles. That seems the 192 SCU would be probably the target for a larger refining ship. Now, they may just do a 96 SCU one. But, if they kind of follow the same meta that they did with the Expanse, and let's say Argo put out a refining ship, and we're just having some fun with this, I would say it would be 192 SCU refining ship, and that would be unbelievably fun. Joey Goodwood. Joey, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Joey says, hello all. Dragon Master 1212. Not a name I recognize, Dragon Master. Welcome to the channel. Is there a reason you don't jettison closer to the ground? Is there a chance you would blow up the... no, there's no reason that... I was kind of like doing one of these things, like I was kind of getting the ship a little goofy, so I thought, I'll give myself a little more altitude just in case I, I kind of end up smashing into the ground a little bit. We can absolutely fly right down by the surface when we do it, and no big deal there, Dragon Master. Whiter says it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with the Orion this summer once they update the concept. It is going to be interesting to see. There's a lot of interesting tidbits happening this year that are super. Obviously, we have 3.17 that we're on the horizon now. Refueling on the horizon now. Mining gadgets on the horizon now. That was so much fun. I loved monkeying with the mining gadgets last week. They definitely are a game changer for sure. Did you guys know also, if you didn't watch the stream from last week, you can attach multiple mining gadgets to the rock? I mean, it's crazy. Toe Cutter says, have they said how long the refining will take? Right now, it's hours per load. Yeah, right now, Toe Cutter, it's way more than hours per load. It can be days. I mean, depending if you use we had a full. Oh, you guys, I should mention, Thursday night we had a full 96 SCU unicorn mole. So that actually took, to do the Ferron exchange, which is a fairly fast refining process, was 1 day, 18 hours. It's still going from Thursday night, you know what I mean? So it's got another hour or two left. So we're waiting for the for this stuff to become unstable so we can jettison it, everybody. So yeah, Dragon Master says nope. Whiter says it's going to be interesting. It absolutely is. Toe Cutter says how long the refining will take. I am really hoping that the Expanse, it's like about a half hour to 45-minute process. Or maybe if you kind of sit there with the mini game, you can just keep knocking it down and get it around like 20 minutes or something. Who knows how that mini game is going to work, whether or not it's going to, it's going to maybe improve speed, but, at the cost of something. Maybe they're going to do something cool like that where, and I really hope that they have like upgradable refinery parts as well. Like you can invest like another 600,000 or 1.6 million or something into your Expanse and make it even better. That would be really cool. What if there were like individual components that you could upgrade? Oh, that would be fantastic. Dragon Master has been following your YouTube content for a while, but it's rare I get a chance to catch you live. Great content, by the way. Keep up the good work. Dragon Master, thank you very much for that. I have been I will tell you guys, I have been so floored by our little mining community. I started out this channel. I mean, it was just, and it's so, I know some of you have been here when I had less than 50 subs, and you guys are regulars or whatever. I was so surprised to cross the 700 mark. I know that it's not a lot, and I actually just enjoy mining. I would be doing this regardless, So it's been really cool. I've really enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And so thank you very much, Dragon Master. That's a very nice compliment, and I really want you to know how much it means to me. Andrea says, I tried the PTU yesterday and was positively surprised that they updated the mining UI. It looks so much better to mine on Lyria in the PTU. Andreas, I could not agree more. The mining UI looks fantastic. I mean, super crystal clear. I was really hoping to actually stream the PTU today, but like I said, I logged into 3 servers, and I just, every time I went to leave the habitation and click the first elevator, they wouldn't let me out. So I was like, I'm stuck. Everywhere I go, I'm stuck. I can't have a stream where I'm just running around the hab for that long. I mean, I'm not that excited, to talk. It's like that would be a lot of content to make up. Of course, we would have some fun with it. So, Whiters is asking a great question. What ship am I using to transport my refined Quantanium? Whiters, my favorite ship right now that I use is the Constellation Taurus for a variety of reasons. Now, first of all, there's nothing wrong with using... I've used a Cutlass Black before. I 1-to-1'd it. I've used a Freelancer before. 2-to-1'd it. I've used a Freelancer Max, which really is a great choice. The Freelancer Max, and so you can get several 3 or 4, not 4 I think perfect unis, but you can get 4 on there. The Akia is a great. Andre says I use the Akia 96 SCU, nothing wrong with that. I have used also, of course, the Constellation Taurus is my favorite. I like the Constellation Taurus for a couple reasons. You get the 2 size 5, 2 size 4s, plenty of missiles. 174 SCU, so still quite a bit of refined material on board. The one thing I will tell you is that it's also, what's really cool about it is it's a gunship, but it's got plenty of wiggle room for cargo, and it's not like an M2 or a C2 where if you get 5 or 600, 699 or 96 or 522. if you lose that load somehow, that is just too much. I don't mind if I have 300 or 400 to haul. I don't mind making 2 runs just to kind of break it up and make sure that at least one of them get in house. Now I don't have problems with it either, and I have made it. But the one time I broke that rule, I made an M2 run. I hit Quantum, and I've never had it happen before or since on that particular ship. I was pulled out of, sucked right out into space, and I watched the M2 Quantum away with 500 SCU. Now I logged back in, everything was fine, but I definitely use the Constellation Taurus. It's a gunship that has 174 SCU, so that's my favorite one. Chris Bates says, if you like the channel, consider subscribing, hit like and the notification bell. Thank you, Chris. Chris has been a huge advocate of the channel. I really appreciate that, and I forget sometimes to ask people to like and sub. And so here we're going to do the thing we're talking about, though, you guys. So now I'm outside the ship, and we'll kind of get the sun in the background here, get a little bit of make it look pretty. And so now I'm holding down. We're going to do this to see if there's any kind of a visual cue. So I'm holding down Alt and I'm hitting J. Absolutely no visual cue at all. I heard the noise. I got the message that it was jettisoned. I definitely have an absolutely clear, it's totally jettisoned the cargo. But there was no visual representation at all that it took place. So excellent thing to know. Very good suggestion, by the way, as well. So yeah, we've done 3 different jettisons now. One of them inside, with the mining. Here's some rules about the jettisoning. An important thing to note: number 1, the mining laser has to be out. Number 2, you have to be in a state where the Quantanium has set off the alarm. You have to have at least gone into first alarm. So first, and then you can then hit left Alt and J for jettison, or you can hold down the F key, and right over here, it won't show up, but once this is kind of, giving you the warning, over here's like a jettison cargo that will pop up. And that's look, this is a critical skill. I know it's not one that we use a lot. We haul our Quantanium back to the refiner all the time, right? That's what we do. But it's very important that we learn how, I don't know why I've never did any jettison my cargo before, but I never had, I never had done it before. So I'm glad we kind of worked through that one together. And I, later on when I go back through the stream, I'll put some time markers at the top so people can learn themselves. So so that's awesome. Now I figured while we're on Lyrio, we might as well at least find something to mine, right? So all right, so we'll do that today. So Mike Anderson says, just subbed. Thanks for the great mining content, Mike. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Absolutely love mining in Star Citizen. I get teased. I get teased a lot that I'm always, it's like I get a DM now and then. It's like, you sound ridiculously happy mining Star Citizen. So colloquially, I kind of refer to myself as the Bob Ross of Star Citizen mining, just because it is an enjoy. I really do enjoy it, and I enjoy talking to you guys, and of course we have some guests on board, and we do talk a lot about theory crafting for larger mining operations, and anything that has to do with Star Citizen, though, we like to talk about. So Toe Cutter says, I've used it on the landing pad to save the ship. That's a perfect use case. There comes a time when judgment's the better part of valor. You definitely want to just, if you've gotten into the red and you're just down too low. Now, obviously, you always have the chance to go to the pad and then land on the wrong pad, and within 40 some seconds they'll haul in the ship. That's if there's no server lag and that things aren't backed up. So you can take it right down to the end. But there comes a time when you might just want to jettison that cargo, for sure. So yeah, we practiced jettison, and now we're going to look around for something to mine today, and kind of, make the rest of the stream kind of just chatting about the expanse, chatting about 317, chatting about the cargo refactor, which is definitely something I'm super excited about. And then kind of at least taking something back to the hopper and throwing it in, because I think hard to say, but I think it's going to be probably we at least have a couple days here in the next week at the minimum, looking at the different bungs. So, hey, Infinite Reach Ministry says, greetings from Turkey. I'll tell you what, Infinite, thank you for joining today. Will tell you, it is funny that you mentioned you're from Turkey. I definitely am interested, it's someday, if the world is, a happier place and a better place, I would love to visit Istanbul. I would just love to visit that town, that city. Istanbul to me is just like, there's so much history there. I would truly love to visit Istanbul. So absolute greetings to you, sir. Andreas says, wish you could jettison the explosive containers right into the pirate's face. And Andreas, I was thinking today, like, it might be funny, like, if you were, like, say you were planning some kind of an operation where, you wanted to do something kind of where you needed an explosion, but you didn't want to kind of, you didn't want to, like, tip people off. So you could actually put some Quantanium on board and, like, and sneak like maybe go land a prospector, jump down, it's like, oh, the guy's just in a prospector, no big deal, and then but have it have like Quantanium on board and land really uncomfortably close to somebody and see if you can, kind of use it as kind of a, a dirty bomb or whatever. It's a terrible thought, but something I did, it did cross my mind. So it's funny that you're you know what? You were the one who made me think of that again. So, I'm blaming you for that. Andreas says, pirates may want you to jettison valuable ore or die. I think you're absolutely right about that. Infinite Reach Ministry says, I'm on the Aegean coast, home of the ancient church. That's awesome. Very cool. Andreas says, that bedlog to hop the servers placed me right inside a rock. Boom. That's so funny. You can bedlog, and then when you log onto the planet, it may be procedurally generated differently, and you can end up with some trouble. So that's funny. No, it's awesome, Infinite, for sure. I really do appreciate that history. Some parts of the world are much older. Their civilizations are much older, and like I said, I really do. I do like the idea of visiting Istanbul someday. If not for a good cup of coffee alone. So that's for sure. All right. So what do we got here? That's a 2%er right there. And what do we have here? This looks like it's a 2%er. Got a couple more that we're gonna take a look at here. And that's a 4%er. Come on now. It would look... Want to have something at least take back to the hopper. And that's going to be a quiet one as well. So, no big deal. We'll keep on looking. Ooh, Infinite says, I upgraded my rover from my entrepreneur pack to the Expanse. Good choice. Yeah, the Expanse is going to be it's just a fun ship. Adding that layer is going to be sweet. Adding, between that, I really do believe, like, if you play it out in your mind, do a little theory craft, which of course I love to do. If you're in Pyro and you've just got, you've got a surface mining operation going on, you may have, in between orbital markers, maybe whatever, obviously you really want to understand the scanning meta, but someplace close to that planet within, say, 1 million kilometers or something, in the middle of nowhere, you would have your refining ships. You would have, a couple refining ships, 2 to 4 or 5 of them, maybe a couple refueling ships. You might have a repair ship. You're going to have, potentially some forward operating stuff as well. And what you can do at that point then is the prospectors can basically keep on mining. You can have, as they detach the bags, ships can come in and haul those bags, pick that stuff up, and you're kind of take them out to your refining your kind of your refining station. And then if you need to, they can, your prospectors can either fly back to that, because I mean, refueling is not going to be something that you probably would want to do somewhere around the lasers or the EM signatures for those. So you probably would want to maybe take your prospectors and fly them back out to that deep space place, just so you can kind of safely refuel as well. And Tokutter saying a salvage, some salvaging things when things go wrong. Absolutely, at the very, whatever repair stuff you can do at that particular location. So you really would have this kind of deep space outpost that only your organization and you kind of share pips and know where it's at. It's going to have your refueling, your rearming. It's going to have your repairs. It's going to have your refinery ships there. Potentially, a medical bed. You may have a Carrack sitting there. Something along those lines. Like a Carrack may be kind of your base operation ship for now. Something along those lines. Of course, in the future, you may have one of the mining ships that the medical ships that are available, the triage or whatever. So that's going to be a very cool time at Star Citizen. It really is. Drax says, like my fleet carrying ED, refuel, restock, repair is needed, lots of cargo space. Exactly. Lots of cargo space. You're going to have, of course, then you're going to have your, you would be, having your ships that are, for logistics, kind of hauling your refined materials away, potentially making their way to, to some place to sell. I mean, there's a lot of thickness in that gameplay loop. There's a 3%er. That's not 2.95. That's not going to do it for us. And what about this guy right here? So we're on Lyria now. We've definitely done our Jettison training, and we're just looking for something to mine. So, we're going to keep, we're going to keep it. Now, if we happen to hit 50% Quantanium, or pardon me, 50% hydrogen, we'll probably hit an OM marker and come back down and find a different place. So, but we are definitely, we've, concluded the Jettison. It worked fine. I am going to make up I am going to shoot a little bit of video and make up a cool little training video on Jettison. I'll throw that on my channel for sure. Just a cool mechanic to learn, nothing I'd ever done before, and of course an enjoyable conversation while we're doing it, Drax. So yeah, I think that's how I see the Expanse. Infinite, thank you very much. Infinite says, I will sub your channel and keep in touch. Please do that. I really do appreciate you stopping in for sure and spending some time. And of course, if anytime you want to talk Star Citizen mining, please feel welcome to come to the channel. And yeah, and like I said, and I mean it in the most humble and respectful sense. I mean, I have, and said it many times outside of this conversation, Istanbul would be a very, very fun, it'd be an incredible city to visit. The history there, just, obviously the culture is very rich. It would be on my short, if I could just pick, any cities in the world that I could stroll through, that city would be on my short list for sure. A Sandbone says, in the future, Jettison a pod leaves you one less pod. Yeah, that's like, man, being able to, when you have the tractor beams, maybe you have prospectors that are dropping off bags, you have maybe, your ships kind of sweeping in, maybe either tractor beam teams or, something like a tourist. Think about this, right? Let's say a prospector drops all 4 bags on the ground and just takes off and starts making 4 more bags. You can have something like a tourist come in and land, open up its belly hatch. It's going to have that tractor beam right underneath that you can just tractor beam those right into the belly and haul off. So, man, that stuff is going to be so cool. And then, it might run it over to the refinery. That's going to be crazy, you guys. That's really going to be interesting. And so... it's going to be really interesting, where your bottlenecks and, the coordination for your teams and that kind of stuff. It's going to be lots of fun. That's going to be cool. So, Infinite says, you are kind. I really appreciate that. It's very nice of you, sir. So we are cruising along here. We've done our Jettison testing, and we are just looking to throw something in the hopper, because, this is a mining stream. We do mine here. So why not do a little mining? So... that's what we're up to here now. We're looking for something to put in the hopper. One thing I will say also, if you notice off to the left-hand side, or the port side here next to the UI, look at how fast my boost is going down. And that's pretty common. I mean, that's nothing unusual. But in 3.17, I noticed that boost time was significantly improved in the Prospector. Like, you know, it definitely, you could hit that button for like 10 or 15 seconds while it, you know, you had a lot more boost. Now, you know, your boost does come back pretty quickly. And of course, you know, I do believe toggling your systems, trying to think, oh yeah, yeah, I think that's what I want, is just all, you know, everything here. I'm just kind of curious, I've never really monkeyed with those too much. How much that improves, hold on. There's some doublers over here. How much that would improve boost or whatever. You know, kind of curious about that. I do know that the guys talk about how they kind of lean on their, you know, their engines, or, you know, they put their engine pips up a lot, and, you know, and it definitely improves the maneuverability. So I don't really mess with that stuff too much when I do mining, as much as obviously combat I do, but I don't mess with it as much with mining, and I probably should get used to kind of flipping those pips, you know, a lot more. So this is a nice rock here, 12%er, right? Yes, not great. And so, and what do we have here? This is a 30%er. Look at the, it's so weird though, I'm not getting the UI on some of this stuff. So here, I'll put the mining laser away. I'll pull it back out. You can see I've had this, it happened earlier to me today too, where I just didn't get the UI. Yeah, I'm gonna roll this back here and we'll do this. So now I'll get the scan, even though it has scanned already. It should pop up the UI when it's done scanning. Hopefully it will. Yeah, it is kind of acting weird. See how I'm not getting the UI, you guys? You know, I'm not getting the ability. Now this is something I definitely want to mine. This is a good rock, a 5030. So we got to toggling some things, just seeing if I can get the. There we go. Now that's what I did. I went to extraction mode, and I came back to mining mode, and it seemed to have drew the UI after that. So no problem. We'll take it that way. So that was kind of a cool thing to, you know, to kind of experience and deal with. So Ace Hambone says, well, Drax says a couple of things prior to that. Ace says, you'll need someone to bring you new pods so you can continue to mine. Oh, that's going to be interesting. I didn't know that you might need to attach empties to it. That's a very interesting point. Drax says, that would be cool if you folks in Prospectors filling bags, a couple more hauling off full bags, empties, doing an exchange. Absolutely, full tilt. Love it, Drac. And a couple good haulers chips to take it to the market. Yep, absolutely. And then you've got your refining. You know, people are refining back at that little deep space spot. You know, you've got refueling kind of happening. You know, there you might have to take your refuelers on a hydrogen scooping run. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Lovebird says, hi. Oh, hi. Autoplay doing me right today. Hey, Lovebird, welcome to the channel. You know, we, not a name I recognize. Glad to have you aboard. We'll tell you that, you know, we do lots of mining here in Star Citizen, but we are happy to theorycraft anything, and yeah, just wanted to welcome you aboard. Like I said, you know, anytime I see new names, I always like to welcome those people aboard, and of course we, you know, get lucky and get to know some of you as you kind of come back and chat, you know. So anything you want to chat about Star Citizen mining related. We've been talking about the Expanse today. We've been talking about 3.17. We've been talking about the cargo refactor a little bit. Yeah, anything you want to chat about. We've been talking about what ships are good to haul with. A lot of theory crafting. I'm having some fun today. Drax says, I admit it. I'm both lazy and greedy. I don't want to work any harder than I have to. I know, yeah, I definitely understand. It's one of the reasons I don't solo mine in the Prospector as much, or pardon me, solo mine in the Mole as much, is because it's, you know, it's definitely a little more, it's a little more work to do that. So even though you do get more room. So 5,000 mass rock, pretty easy break here. Not going to be, you know, not going to be too hard. It's a 1.64 instability, fairly manageable over the mass of 5,000. It's not jumping around a whole lot. You know, we've got good contrast in the dark of the fold of the. We seem to be maybe the sun's over the down below the horizon there, so it's a little darker here than what we normally got. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of ease this guy in. And we're just kind of feathering the intensity, kind of the laser intensity back between 100 and 90. It can fall out like it did there, but we're just trying to keep it around the bottom of the optimal. I could pop a Brandt if I needed to, but you don't normally on these first breaks need to. Now it jumped up really quickly, and so I just kind of scaled it back. This is just kind of the game you play. You have to feather it back and forth a little bit. But it certainly isn't a difficult thing to do, but it does take a little attention to detail. And good break, easy break there. And so yeah, a big chunk of this is going to be Quantanium for us today, and we're going to go ahead and make that happen. So yeah, welcome aboard for sure. Drax says, if you like mining and blowing up junk, you're in the right place. It's exactly right. We do a lot. We blow a lot of stuff up around here. And we break down rocks, and of course, we did some jettison practice today. First time I'd ever kind of monkeyed around with the Jettison Mechanics. I don't know why. Like I said, it seems like a critical mining skill. This thing broke up yucky, you guys. Look at it, 7% in that one, 56 in that other one. What do we have here? This is like a 22%. Yeah, we got a lot of breaking to do. This thing broke up yucky. Ew, this is a terrible break. So 100% inert there. Yeah, this thing broke up yucky. There's 24% on 1,000. So yeah, we'll break it all up though, and we'll be as discerning with the laser as we can, and we'll make the most out of it. We won't let that get us down that it broke a little yucky. No big deal. Ace Hambone says, well, back to work. Thanks for the stream. Great conversations. Ace, as always, good to see you. Happy that you stopped in and chatted a little bit. Have a lovely day. Don't work too hard, and have a lovely weekend as well, for sure. Drax says a craptacular break. Yeah, that makes sense. That's for sure. Yeah, we are mining here. So we definitely did our jettison practice. That worked great. I'm definitely gonna, like I said, I think I'm gonna take a little video, and you'll see probably a video on the channel not terribly long from now that will have some kind of just a how-to guide on the jettison mechanics, and what would be some use cases for jettisoning. Pretty obvious stuff, but little things that are important to kind of note. Just you have to have the mining laser out. It's got to be in a first alarm or whatever has had to have gone off. Yeah, I don't know that I want to fish that 7% out. Maybe I will. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just break this guy up and haul in what we can, and call that one good. This be a good one. Okay. So scaled it back pretty good. And so it only jumped to a 1.47 instability with the Brandt off, so it's not like this isn't manageable. Quite manageable. Seems like it's fairly stable in the middle. So we're just going to kind of ride it out here. I think we've got it. Good break. Good stuff. And we're just breaking all this stuff up. It seems like a little bit broken to everything. This is probably the one that's going to have the most in it, 77%er. Lovebird says, did you pick up the Expanse, or is it too early for you to bother with it? Several people in our organization picked it up for sure. And I looked at it, and yeah, I picked it up. So yeah, I did. I thought, that's just, here on the mining channel, and every day in Star Citizen that I mine is a good day. So yeah, that's yep, that was a done deal. I mean, and the thing is I had thought to myself the low end of this thing is going to be I literally said 215. I think was the lowest that I called it at. So when it came out at such a reasonable amount, I thought, well, this is really a kind of a critical piece to the whole mining operation. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I'm excited about it too. I think it's going to be a great, it's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, when that part comes, and I wouldn't anticipate that those things are going to be terrible. I would imagine we'll buy several of them in game, but yeah, it's just one of those things. Oh, the loaner ship is a missed core. So Lovebird's asking, saying, hey, I thought about picking up the Expanse, but didn't know what the loaner ship was. The loaner ship is the missed core. And so, yeah, kind of an interesting choice. Not sure what exactly is behind that choice. But I will tell you, I do, I know that there's not a tons of use cases for those missed ships right now. The one I'm most interested in is the news van version. At some point, me, I like the advanced camera control stuff. So if they just remove the silly cursor from the camera, I may enjoy that ship a little bit. But yeah, it's the core. Yeah, and that's what I said. I was very surprised by the price. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Young Smooth, welcome to the channel, Young. Not a name I recognize. Welcome aboard. How are you today? It's a great question you're asking. Young's asking, do you only mine quant? Do you have any other older videos mining other ores? I can only find quant mining online, looking to pick up SC soon. You know what? There are other rocks that you can mine. There's laranite, taranite, bexylite, hephaestonite, any of the ites. Of course, there's all sorts of other things too. Diamond, corundum, aluminum, those types of things, but none of them really have the value that Quantanium does. So for the most part on the stream, I think people are always interested in learning the Quantanium mining loop just because it's so profitable. It's one of the more profitable loops in the game, Young. So yeah, I mean, primarily on the stream I do that, but I cut my teeth on agricium mining, and that's it's super fun to mine. Anytime you're mining in Star Citizen, it's a blast, I think, so I know that a couple of folks who frequent the channel, they'll just kind of, they'll just kind of go grab whatever. They get into moods and they're just like, hey, I just want to mine and have, enjoy my time and not necessarily. So this 7% is the last guy. I'll break it up here. But yeah, it's a great question. And I will say, Young, and it doesn't have to be mine, but if you check in in the description of the stream, there is a referral code, and you don't have to use mine, but look at what that referral code looks like. Use somebody's referral code if you're going to sign up. It will get you an extra 5,000 AUEC when you do sign in, and that's that's a nice little extra buck. Help offset the cost of a suit or an undersuit or something. Or certainly definitely get you. A handgun or some extra clips or some medical tools or something. So yeah, make sure you do use somebody's referral code. It's like star and some numbers. Mine is in the description, but you don't have to use mine. Use somebody's. You definitely want to do that. But yeah, Star Citizens, the one thing I will tell you is you have to kind of understand that it is in a state where, it's in flux. I mean, it definitely has its issues. I have been mining now in Star Citizen well over a year. I love it. I enjoy the loop. It's one of my favorite hobbies in life. Obviously I love computer gaming. I've been doing that forever. You guys would be, I definitely have been computer gaming as long as there have been computer games. 1988 on the Commodore 64, my favorite game was Elite, by the Brabants Elite, the wireframed Elite. So Young Smooth says, okay, definitely just waiting for my motherboard to get here so I can build my first PC. I will definitely use the code. Thank you very much. And I'll tell you what, building a PC is one of the, it sounds like you're going to have some fun ahead of you. Building a PC is of course, a super fun thing to do. Super enjoyable. Love building PCs. And of course, some tips and tricks for Star Citizen, of course, would be, and why wouldn't you be, but definitely use an SSD. Make sure that you install Star Citizen on an SSD. You know, probably not a bad idea to have a, you know, a decent processor. You know, hopefully, you know, and then, you know, obviously decent video card. But one thing I will say, Young, don't sleep on how much 32 gig of RAM makes a difference in this game either. I'm not sure if you can afford it or whatever, but it, you know, at some point, if you can't afford the 32 gig of RAM, Star Citizen eats every bit of 20. It eats. This thing broke up, so we'll start scooping this guy, and we'll just take whatever we can get. Yeah. So but yeah, the 32 gig of RAM, that's another area where it did make a big difference, I noticed. So you know, I'm not sure if it's in your budget this time, but you know, it's one thing to think about at some point in the future. Star Citizen eats every bit of 16 and then some. So never a bad idea to think about a little more RAM. And when you're building, it's the time to always, you know, it's always when you're thinking about kind of what you can, you know what you're putting in there, what you're not putting in there. Oh man, 28. Definitely looking for the highest percentages first. Boy, this thing broke. Oh, hey, there's a hundo, you guys. Who'd have thought? There's a straight hundo. There's my grandson. I can hear him. He's a sad boy in the background. He must have stopped in. I know we're having family dinner tonight here, and I can hear him out there. He is definitely sad boy. So if you hear that little bit in the background, that's just him. He's grumpy. Probably hasn't had a nap today. All right, so we're hauling this in. We definitely have found a couple of hundos there. That's good. There's an 8%er. I don't think there's a lot of this stuff. It's just garbage. So Young Smooth says, yes, I agree, and definitely have a good setup. 3080 FE, 5900X, very nice chip right there. Obviously a 3080's, you know, a Founders Edition, fantastic card. X570 Ace Max, good stuff. 32 gig Trident X, so nice. 3 1 terabyte Samsung 980 Pros, and then yeah, you're styling. That's a great system. Great system. I myself have a 3070. I have a 3900X, a 3070, and 32 gig of RAM. I think I have a 970, maybe a 970 Evo Sony. So you know, definitely don't have the same. But I will tell you that I am thinking about going with the next generation of cards here in September. I am going to probably make the jump to 4K. I think that will serve the channel well. Of course, it will serve my own self-interests, which are probably if I'm, of course, completely transparent, I'm sure the most important driver. But I like to tell myself it's for the channel. If you guys will humor me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to updating. I did get an Odyssey G9, so I would really like to run the 5120 by 1440 aspect ratio. I'm not obviously wouldn't stream that or whatever, but I would look forward to being able to run that on a more regular basis. I can certainly run it now, but it is a little bit janky to run it now. It just kind of, I hit 99% GPU utilization and there's a stutter. So it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. So, I generally run 1440p borderless right now, and I really do enjoy it. I mean, 1440p is fine. And in all honesty, when I built this system, I did not have the G9. I wasn't going to get a G9. It wasn't on my radar. They just happened to run those first generation G9s at such a great price all of a sudden, so I picked one up, and now I'm just like, oh, I need to get a card. I was like, yeah. I absolutely adore it. I mean, having right now, I have 1440p borderless in the middle of my monitor, and then to the left of that, I have YouTube Studio pulled up, and to the right of that, I have I have OBS pulled up. I mean, it's fantastic having. No bezels, tons of real estate. It is just fantastic. I do adore the thing for sure. Lovebird says, I'm so excited to be back in the game, even if I'm a potato of a PC. Oh, heavens and stars. You know, like the most important thing is if you have something that at least meets minimum MVP, minimum viable specs, minimum viable product or whatever that can get you in so you can play a little bit of Star Citizen. That's really the most important thing is being able to play and having some fun. So I'm going to grab what we have here. So, you know what, guys? This didn't break up the cleanest here. Now, here's a hundo I missed, though, because I was talking and not doing the most efficient job. But that's okay. You know what? You know, we definitely were more out here doing some testing of the Jettison Mechanics. So up we go. Pulling the mining laser. We're going to spool up our quantum drive. We're going to take our 20 plus SCU of Quantanium. Anytime you haul in over 15 SCU of Quantanium, it's a solid run. Oh, hey. We just got to get up over here over the horizon a little bit. And we'll spool up. Oh, it still says obstructed. Okay, yeah. There we go. We'll go ahead and head off to Arc L1. Yeah, anytime that you can get north of 20 SCU of Quantanium, obviously you're always looking for what we like to call a uni here on the channel. A unicorn. And we're always looking for unicorns. But in this case, we ended up with a little over 20 SCU. But because I was chatting with you guys, I wasn't being that discerning on the lasers anyway. So, here's what we set out to do today. I wanted to learn how to... I had never... As many times as I've ever gone mining, I never had done any jettisoning. And so I practiced that today. We did it 3 times. It worked every time successfully. With the mining laser out, when the Quantanium gets into a volatile state, meaning that you have at least first alarm has gone off, you can use left Alt and J. That will absolutely get rid of the Quantanium. You have to have a little bit of Quantanium on board. The reason I was practicing it is because we want to use our prospector braking teams as, to being able to kind of remove inert piles and that type of thing. Hey, Cag, how you doing today? Nice to see ya. And so, yeah, that's the use case we tested. We also were able to, of course, do a jettison by holding down F and kind of going up into this area. Now you have to. It is to the right of the volatile cargo window, and what will happen is when this is going off, you'll have the option to jettison cargo there as well, and that worked as well. And then we did it one time where we just kind of jettisoned from outside the ship from the F4 view to see if there was any kind of a physicalized look to the jettison, but the answer to that question was no. Nothing of the sort. So, cool. Lovebird says, well, I'll be upgrading next as my HOTAS. I want to pick up 2 VKBs. Yes, those are the 6 that I have. And I 100% agree with that, Lovebird. It's funny, we just had this debate in our Discord, and I have the T.1600s. I have the HOTAS setup where it's one T11600 and one throttle. I bought those ones that matched kind of the Elite Dangerous. They're like gold and black or whatever. And I really don't mind that stick and throttle, but when I was investigating sticks, of course, Virpils were, Virpils. So that was a HOTAS set. But I got HOSAS, VKB Gladiator NXTs, and I love these sticks. I did not, splurge for the Virpils. I went with these sticks. They were, I think a little over 300 and some change, still very, pricey. But these sticks are fantastic. I adore them. I have 2 sticks. They're HOSAS. And I actually fly a hybrid model when I, like right now when I'm flying, I'm using the sticks. When I actually mine, I switch to mouse and keyboard. Not everybody does that. I do. And I really enjoy doing that. But whenever I'm doing any kind of combat stuff, low flying, anything, it's always with the sticks. I adore these VKBs. I would buy them again 1,000 times in a row. They have been absolutely... they have been absolutely fantastic. And I bought them. Here's what I said to myself, right? Because, Star Citizen is my hobby. If I buy these things and they just do not do it for me, then I will eventually, no hurry, but I'll eventually splurge for the Virpils. I truly do not believe I need to splurge. I don't. I mean, these things are, I don't necessarily, don't get me wrong if I have unlimited money or whatever. Sure, I might, try the Virpils out, but it would only be to try them out to see if they're actually that much better. It wouldn't necessarily be. I am a huge advocate of these VKBs. I really am. I think they're great. And so, yeah, they look premium for the price. They do, love, for sure. Infinite says, RIP Elite Dangerous. Yeah, Elite Dangerous is definitely, Frontier's definitely got some headwinds there. We'll have to see if they pull that out of the fire or not. It'll be interesting to see. I certainly don't want to see any space games fail. I love space simulation games, and I'd like to see people make, the best possible choices they can. And I hope that there's first alarm going off there. Finally, by the way. Oh, I have to restock because I actually shot off a flare. Okay, it says, kicking myself for getting the warthogs. The one thing about the warthogs that I didn't necessarily like was the no twist in them. I think that the warthogs certainly have the quality. CAG for sure. The HOTAS or whatever CAG says, the VKBs look so fantastic. I just love my VKBs. I really do. I'm a fanboy. I don't have any relationship with VKB or anything. Of course not. Just a dude. But I will really honestly say for that, if you're, the starter way to go would be the T16, the 1600s. And nothing wrong with those. You can go with HOTAS or HOSAS with that. I prefer 2 sticks myself for space. And then the step up from that would be the VKBs. And then if you're going to get VKBs, do yourself a favor and get the NX, the premium of the two. I think I forgot exactly what it is. You can see on there. But yeah, they're good. Lover says, I switch as well. I thought I was weird. I want to pick up a left-handed Omni throttle stick, is what it's called. Oh, that's an interesting. I have to look that one up, Lovebird. I'm not sure. And Kank says, I love the quality metal parts, but those Omnis, yeah. I will have to check that stuff out for sure. I am definitely a 2. I think I cannot see myself going back to a throttle, but we'll see. I definitely, I primarily play space games, so. Beautiful, beautiful day today. We accomplished what we set out to accomplish, which was to just test the Jettison Mechanics. Did test the Jettison Mechanics just fine. Really did enjoy it today. One thing I will ask all of you to do, if you do like mining content on Star Citizen, please do like and subscribe. We do have QuantCalc. I didn't mention that today, but QuantCalc is a $1 app that's on the Google Play Store. It's in early development where it allows you to quickly calculate how much SCU of Quantanium is in a quant rock, and it does some other cool things as well. It has a feature where you can actually add more, if you're in a cluster, you can add 4 or 5 rocks and generate a GUID number, not really a GUID, but a long string of numbers that signifies that whole cluster, and you can share that number with somebody else with QuantCalc, and they can see that whole thing. They can see every rock that you have found with each of the amounts in them, just like you see it. So Kagala says, I have the T1600, but the trigger on the joystick wore out. Yeah, I could see that happening for sure. Drax says, I got the X52 HOTAS and also make extensive use of the keyboard. Fair enough. Silas Cutnan, not a name I recognize. Welcome to the channel, Silas. Appreciate having you aboard. We definitely like Star Citizen mining content. I hope that you'll find your time enjoyable here. So welcome aboard. Infinite Reach says, what is your organization name and may I join? The organization name, Ratherby, how are you, Ratherby? Nice to see you. The organization name is Spectre Fleet. The link is in the description below, Infinite. It's spectrefleet.space, and you can click there and get started there for sure. That's where you'd want to look into the org stuff. The one thing I will say is it's Saturday nights, it's Central Time is when we do kind of our main thing, so it's not always an easy fit for people who, for for people in Europe or those types of things, or obviously Turkey. It would be maybe a very early morning for you sometimes. I think when we're doing a lot of our big stuff, but that doesn't matter. We have lots of folks from other countries who play and join us, but I just want to let you know, it's we don't have a lot of things in maybe in your time zone, is what I mean, And Silas, I've been lurking for some episodes here and there. Silas, thank you for lurking. Ratherby, how's it going? It's going lovely. It's been a beautiful day today, so I've absolutely loved it. So yeah, I really appreciate you joining, Silas, for sure. So hey, we're not in our normal uniform today. Look at us. We're in the tidy whities because we were doing some jettison training, and I wasn't sure if I was going to blow up, so I wasn't going to throw on my, I was going to have the good duds on in case we did blow up. So I wanted to just say I wish I had a little more time today. I don't. I've got to go make some barbecue chicken for a family dinner, and we have the kids are coming over tonight, so we're having kind of an Easter dinner tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. So I just wanted to thank everybody who joined the stream today. I really appreciated having you aboard. I love the conversation. We were able to successfully do some jettison. We then did a little bit of mining, so a little bit of mining on the mining stream, imagine that. Thank you all. Have a lovely holiday weekend for those of you who are celebrating the holiday. If not, just have a lovely weekend in general. Please take care of yourself, and we will see you all around the verse.